All right, everybody, well, just a reminder, just to do the movements that feel comfortable, skip anything that's uncomfortable, and have fun with it. Rest when you know my spiel. All right, everybody, so let's start with our warm-up. My name is Melissa Renner, and I am the founder and CEO of Active for Life. And just a reminder, I know it's seated rhythm today. At the end, we're just going to do a couple of the tap. I could really go down a rabbit hole about Active for Life. A little bit of our tap time class. All right. All right, let's warm on up with our merengue. Let me figure out where to start. So I founded Active for Life. I should probably start with that. I was previously working as a corporate wellness director. And while I love corporate wellness and working with the general population, there was just a part of my heart that felt unfulfilled, I guess you could say. And I thought, what would I do if I could work for free, basically? And I didn't have a mortgage and student loans and all those lovely things. And I thought back of how I've volunteered my entire life with special populations. And special populations is a very big umbrella term. So under that, it could be individuals with developmental disabilities, older adults, individuals with neurodegenerative diseases. And I've worked with those groups my entire life. And I knew that in my heart, I needed to make more of a career out of that. So that was part of the inspiration. There's sort of twofold to the story. I also had my grandmother and my stepfather. I lost them to Alzheimer's disease and also volunteered with individuals with Alzheimer's and dementia. So that was also very important to me. So that was really the inspiration, was to create a program that is serving those populations that tend to be neglected or underserved. And that was it. That was how it was founded. And from there, the rest of it really evolved. I started knocking on doors at different facilities such as assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, independent living. And it just started to grow that way. I should probably mention a big factor to the growth is one of the proprietary programs. It's called Seated Rhythm, and it was inspired by ballroom dancing, of all things. I taught ballroom dancing for a period of time, and I was asked by an independent living facility to teach a ballroom dance class for the residents. And it's independent living, so I thought there'd be a little bit more participation, and I was actually, to be honest, I was a little sad that a lot of people couldn't participate because they didn't have the stability, balance, or strength, or perhaps they were in a wheelchair. So I went home and I put myself in a chair, and I thought, if I need to stay seated, how do I still receive the cognitive and the physical benefits as well as the joy of dance and exercise? So that's when I started putting together seated cha-cha steps, seated mambo steps, choreographed to music. So I basically took my exercise science background with my dance background and created this seated rhythm program. With seated rhythm and tap, since it's the same methodology, it's just really just a different style of dance, but it starts with a warm-up. Always remind everyone who participates just to do the movements that feel comfortable, skip what doesn't, take a rest when you need to, and to have fun with it. So we start with that, and then the class, what's interesting is that, again, I took exercise science and dance. So similar to a dance class, after our warm-up, we review our seated choreography, as you could call it, and then we put it to music. So the class is, I guess you could say, about 7 songs where we rehearse the movements, we put it to music, and then you get that cognitive exercise as well, because it's these different pattern sequences. And then we finish with a gentle cool down. And it really took off. We just had an overwhelming response and success with the individuals we were working with, individuals who don't typically respond even to traditional exercise modalities. Were just coming to life with this program. From that class, that led to another proprietary program I created called Tap Time. And the background on that, I noticed with the seated rhythm, with individuals, especially those with Alzheimer's and dementia, if I even incorporated clapping the hands or something where they were generating sound, it was even more stimulating. So I thought, well, tap dancing, because you're part of the beat when you tap dance. But I immediately thought about how it would not be feasible or even kind to expect some of the individuals that myself or my instructors work with to expect them to put on a narrow, uncomfortable tap shoe. So I thought, well, what if I invented a tap shoe that could go over their shoe and they wouldn't have to take their shoe off? And so I did. And then took the same methodology behind seated rhythm for this tap time class. March. Out, 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 in, out. So, and we also have, when I say we, I mean Active for Life as far as myself and the instructors, a hand tap cover. So those who don't have use of their legs, whether they're paraplegic or whatever the causation may be, can still participate, making it as inclusive as possible. With Alzheimer's, the last area of the brain to degenerate is the right temporal lobe, and that's the area of the brain that processes music. So a good way to remember, you think R, rhythm. So there's individuals who as sad as it is, they may not remember certain family members, but when that music comes on, they don't miss a beat. There's a couple pretty exciting things in the pipeline that are going to be released soon. And one of them, the inspiration actually came about during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, I can't tell you how many activities directors, life enrichment coordinators at different facilities that Active for Life works with reached out to me and said, do you have a type of video of your classes that the residents can follow along with in their room? Because when the world was shut down, as you know, that population was one that was isolated more than anybody. It was tragic. It was really sad. It was hard enough, I think personally hard enough for myself to be quarantined in my house, but I think of individuals where it's just a room. It was really sad to think about. And during that time, they weren't even able to gather in a multi-purpose room. And so these activities directors kept asking, well, is there a video of some sorts? And I didn't have anything, and I just felt so bad. So that was really the inspiration. So it's actually in post-production right now. We're going to have a video of the seated rhythm class, of the tap class. We're going to have one video of each that's for, I guess, a more beginner level, and one that's a little more advanced, so it can be all levels. And that's going to be released very soon on both a DVD option as well as a streaming option. We're still going. Now for that chorus. Ready? Arm. My hobbies, yes. So when I am not working on Active for Life or dancing, I'm a big rock climber. So I go rock climbing a few times a week, and I'm also a beekeeper. And the outdoors is my zen, you could say. So yeah, hiking and cycling, but yeah, rock climbing and beekeeping occupy a good amount of my time when I'm not doing the aforementioned. So it's funny, the beekeeping, it feels appropriate. Melissa actually means busy bee or honeybee, depending on the source that you're looking at. And another really interesting fact about bees is that bees communicate by dancing. Woo! Nice. All right, we'll slow it down with the next one. I think it's more for me at this point. They're rock stars. I'm up here like, oh my gosh, let's slow it down.